What is going on? I am the Ink Tutaku, and this is Season 3 of Attack on Titan. I will be combining Parts 1 and 2 in this video, so let's do the recap so we can get into the manga. Levi's squad now consists of some of the 104th recruits. They are to protect Eren and Historia. While hiding out, Hanji is running experiments on Eren to learn about his powers. In the distance, two people are watching them. In Trost, Levi tells Erwin about the experiments. Also, Erwin has done some digging into Historia's past. She is the love child of a lord named Reiss. Erwin wonders why a lord would know the secrets of the wall. This is when the scouts learn that Pastor Nick was killed, and Hanji thinks that it was the interior military police. Levi gets a message from Erwin, and they abandon the cottage. Levi tells the squad that the scouts have been put on hold from all activities and that Eren and Historia are to be turned over to the government. Levi tells them that they are going to Trost. Once in Trost, Armin and Jean, who are disguised as Eren and Historia, are taken, while the other two are in a covered wagon. Mikasa and the 104th rescue Armin and Jean and go to meet up with Levi. As Eren and Historia make their way in the wagon, a new enemy arrives with a new weapon that is designed to kill people. The leader's name is Kenny Ackerman. The wagon is taken by the members of Kenny's squad, and the rest corner Levi in a bar, and he manages to get out and make it back to Mikasa and the others. They go after the wagon, but are unable to retrieve it. Levi's squad goes back to the warehouse and interrogates Reiss, and he agrees to help them find Eren and Historia. With his help, the scouts are able to imprison the interior military police that killed Pastor Nick. He tells them that Reiss is the true royal family, making Historia the rightful heir. Also that night, Reiss' son, Flegel, sees Kenny kill his dad. Now we go into Historia's backstory. As a little girl, her mother ignored her whole life and then one day left. Then around the time while Maria fell, she meets Rod. Her mother is killed, and she is spared by her father saying that she will go to live a peaceful, quiet life under a different name. Pixis goes to see Erwin about what he's planning. Erwin's plan is to retake Walmaria, overthrow the government, and make Historia queen. He tells Pixis a little bit about his childhood, that he didn't ever believe that what was in the government books happened, and that his father's theory was that the king altered the people's memories, making it easier to rule over them. Pixis eventually agrees to help him with his plan. The next day, Erwin is blamed for the murder of Reiss, and with that, all the scouts are placed under arrest. Levi's squad has to hide out. They capture two MPs, Hitch and Marlowe, and after talking, they agree to help the scouts. They take an interior MP outpost and take a hostage. Hanji sets a trap for the interior military police to tell who really killed Reiss, and the town folks hear it. Now Flegel is the boss of the Reiss company, and they are backing the scouts. Erwin is then brought before the king and the high-up government officials to deliberate Erwin's fate. He is found guilty and to be sent to death. Just as the decision is made, however, someone comes in and tells him that Wall Rose has fallen. The government wants to close Wall Sina and not let any refugees in. Nile, however, refuses to do that. Then Premier Zachary comes to tell them that that report they heard was false. The coup begins, and the interior military police are arrested and the capital is secured. Hanji tells Levi's squad what's happened, and that they can move freely again. That they also think that Eren and Historia are being held at a chapel owned by the Reiss family. Eren wakes to be under that chapel with Historia and Rod. They touch him, and memories come flooding into him from someone else. Historia also regains her lost memories of her older sister. Rod then explains that Eren's father killed the Reiss family and took the Reiss' Titan's power. Kenny comes and tells what has happened in the capital. Then it goes into Kenny's backstory a little bit, first telling about part of the Ackerman clan that has moved to Shiganshina, and that once long ago that they were the king's personal bodyguard, and that the Ackermans can't be controlled by the king, which is one of the reasons that they are not liked. And lastly, that Kenny has found his sister and she has had a kid. The scouts make it to the capital and begin an assault. After taking out some of Kenny's squad, Hanji is injured and Kenny's squad retreats and regroups. Rod wants Historia to turn into a Titan and retrieve the Founder's power from Eren. The Founding Titan, however, can only be used by one with royal blood. Kenny comes after hearing that and he's not happy, because he wanted to use that power for himself. Also learning that if one with royal blood gains the Founding Titan's power, they will also take on the first king's passive nature not to fight. Historia refuses to become a Titan after Eren says that he shouldn't have been born. She goes to set Eren free. Rod ends up licking the Titan serum and starts to transform himself. His transformation is so big that it starts to destroy the underground cavern. The scouts are able to get out after Eren sees a vial with armor written on it. He eats it, and he's able to use hardening to protect everyone. Rod's Titan starts to make his way to the wall. Eren is unable to use Titan powers to stop him. Once at the wall, the scouts are able to kill Rod by blowing off his nape with a bunch of explosives, then go to slice all the pieces up. Historia is actually the one to finish off Rod, and then as part of the plan, she tells the people that she is the rightful heir. Back at the chapel, Kenny is found to still be alive, barely. Levi confronts him, and he is shown to have a vial of serum, which he ends up giving to Levi before he dies, also basically telling Levi that he's his uncle. After that, they crown Astoria queen, and in Shiganshina, with Reiner and Bertolt, Reiner loses to the Beast Titan to decide whether to go after Annie or Eren. 2 months has passed, and the scouts have a new weapon thanks to Eren's hardening ability. Eren then recalls someone from his father's memories that seems familiar, who may have some answers. That person is Keith, from cadet training. They go to see him, and he says he doesn't know anything, but does tell them about when Eren's dad came from outside the wall, how he rose through the ranks to become the leader of the scouts, and about the night that Eren ate his dad. Levi, with the higher-ups, decide what to do with the serum. They want to use it in case of emergency and give it to Levi to use at his discretion. Levi then wants to talk to Erwin about staying behind on the mission to retake Shiganshina. Erwin, however, refuses, saying he needs to learn the truth and see what's in the basement. The scouts then leave out with the full support of the townfolks at Trost. When they reach Shiganshina, the operation to reclaim the wall begins. Armin sees signs that there were 3 people there, finding 3 cups. Eren successfully seals the first part of the wall. The scouts are getting suspicious that no one has come yet, and Erwin tells Armin to take command and find where Reiner and Bertolt might be hiding. Armin suspects they are inside the wall and begins to search. The scouts find a hollowed out spot with Reiner inside. He kills the scout, and Levi unsuccessfully tries to kill him. Reiner then transforms, and then on the outside, the Beast Titan shows up with a score of Titans that appear as well. The Beast throws a boulder and closes off the other wall, leaving the scouts trapped. Then sends in smaller Titans to attack the scouts on the outside. Erwin instructs Levi to stay and protect the horses and to take out the beast. Reiner and Eren fight again, but this time the scouts have a new weapon called the Thunder Spear, which is an explosive. They use it to blast Reiner's body out of his Titan. Then it shows in the past that Reiner, Annie, and Bertolt got Marco killed by a Titan after he overheard them talking about Titan stuff. The scouts go to blast him again, but he's able to let out a scream, and that's when the beast throws a barrel with Bertolt in it. He goes to transform, but doesn't after seeing Reiner. He goes to check on Reiner, telling him to get on his back. Armin then tries to talk it out with Bertolt, and it fails. Bertolt then transforms, and only 6 of the scouts inside the wall survive. Eren goes to stop him, but is kicked up the wall and knocked out. The beast starts to throw volleys of rocks at the wall, killing the scouts on the other side. Erwin tells Levi that himself and the rest of the scouts will charge the beast, leaving Levi with a distraction to attack the Titans. The scouts are completely decimated, but Levi goes ham and is able to take out the beast, and Zeke comes out. Levi says that he'll have him eaten instead of killing him, but the card Titan grabs him and runs for it. Levi starts to make chase. Armin comes up with a plan to take out Bertolt, which is to make him burn through his muscle. Armin gets burned alive, but Eren is able to pull Bertolt out of his colossal, and the others are able to capture Reiner with the help of Hanji. Eren then sees what happened to Armin. Zeke then comes and tells him they are both victims of his father, and then tells him that he will come back to save him since Levi is still after him. They flee and grab Reiner. Armin coughs and Eren wants to use the serum to save him, and just as they're about to, Frost shows up with Erwin saying he's still alive. After a bunch of whining and back and forth, Levi chooses Armin and he eats Bertolt, becoming the new Colossal. Erwin dies, not knowing the truth or getting to fulfill his dream. When Armin comes to, they tell him the situation. While the rest of the scouts rest, Eren, Mikasa, Levi, and Hanji goes to Eren's basement. The key doesn't work, and Levi kicks the door down. They find 3 books and a picture of Eren's dad, Grisha, with his first family, and they return to Trost. Then, we see a young Grisha and his sister Faye as children. They are in Liberio, inside the Marleyan Empire. They leave the walls that Eldians are confined to see the airships. They are caught by 2 Marleyan officers. Grisha takes a beating, and his sister is taken home, or so they thought. She is found dead by the river the next day. Grisha's dad then tries to teach him about Eldian history and about the Titans. He also learns how cruel the world really is. At 18, he learns the truth about his sister's death, that she was fed to the dogs of a Marleyan officer, and he then joins a group called the Restorationists, with the leader being a person called the Owl. He then meets his first wife, Dinah Fritz, which she is of royal blood, and they have a son named Zeke. He learns about the Founding Titan's power, and that the Marleyan government wants that power, and wants the minerals under Para D, and are looking for warrior candidates. Grisha sends Zeke to be a warrior. He ends up turning in his parents and the Restorationists, They are brought to Paradis. This is where the king has brought some of the Eldians and made the walls. Marlians bring Eldians here and change them into Titans. They turn all but Grisha, and this is where we see that the Titan that ate Aaron's mom was actually Dinah. Grisha then learns that the owl was among the Marlians. He transforms into a Titan and destroys the ships that brought him, killing the Marlian soldiers. After that, he reveals his name to be Aaron Kruger. He wants Grisha to take his powers and get the Founding Titan's power. He tells him that there are 9 special Titans, and the ones that have the power have 13 years after gaining the powers before they die. The Titan that Aaron has is called the Attack Titan, and before giving powers to Grisha, Aaron says something about saving Armin and Mikasa that says those memories aren't from him. In the present, Aaron explains those memories and says he has about 8 years left. Also, that if the Titan powers aren't transferred, then they're put in a random baby born of Ymir. That all the subjects of Ymir are connected by something called the coordinates. They are let out of confinement and go to a state meeting with the higher-ups to discuss the books. They plan to tell the people about the truth about them being a race called Eldians, and that they are on an island called Paradis, and that there are more people outside the walls. Aaron then realizes why he had control of the Titans for a moment, but says nothing. Then they have a ceremony to praise the scouts, and when Aaron touches Historia, he sees more memories. After that, they begin to rebuild, and the scouts make their way beyond the wall. They finally make it to the edge of the island and see the vast ocean before them. Aaron then points out to the vast world, asking if they killed all their enemies out there, if they would finally be free. Alright, and that is Season 3's recap of Parts 1 and 2. I'll say the only difference of the manga comes from Part 1. They pretty much followed Part 2 really well. The only thing is, like, they stretched out the anime longer than it, in my opinion, should have been. It's like they could have just went straight through it and waiting into straight when to go back to Shiganshina. But I'll explain. You know, you see here after Ymir goes with Reiner and Bertolt, Historia pleads with Aaron and the rest of them, like, go help her, go get her back. And then she has like a mental break after everyone keeps calling her Kristen. She's like, that person you knew doesn't exist. I'm no longer that girl. That was just a person that I was told to be so that they wouldn't kill me, you know. And then here, when they're doing the experiments on Aaron, you know, in the manga, they have him like try to test out his, you know, abilities. Yeah, you know, see if he can write. They have him build shit. Says he can't speak, but he can understand, talk. And then after Aaron collapses from being so exhausted, he has more visions of Historia's sister. And then here is when they go into, so in the anime, you know, when they go into the city, they get taken, and then you meet Kenny and all that. In that manga, however, when they go to the city, they still get taken, like Armin and then John still get taken, but they don't meet Kenny then. And then they're able to snatch back, you know, Armin and John, and then they talk to Reiss, cut a deal with him like normal, and then they take the differences, they take the interior MPs, and they like fall off a cliff on the way over there, and that's how they capture them. And then, but like Aaron and Historia aren't taken still, like they're still with the scouts. And then here, after after Hanji is done interrogating them, you know, when she comes up and kicks that table, since Aaron's still there, he's the one that actually talks to her instead of it being Levi. And then this is where they explain, like, they try to get her to be like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. And Historia's like, I don't think I can do that. I'm not fit for that. And that's when Levi's like, you're gonna do what we tell you to do, or, you know, you can try to run away from us. And so they set up a trap for them to find out where Reiss and all that is. And this is when they meet Kenny for the first. That's when we see Kenny actually for the first time, and they give Aaron like all these little knives that he sticks in his tongue. You can see put in his hands, on his feet, so he can turn to a Titan if something happens. And like I said, this is when Kenny comes, and he kills Reiss, which, you know, obviously the sun sees. That's when they're taken. That's when they're actually taken in the manga. And so now they got to figure out where they're going to be and where they're going. And then this is when this is when the actual fight happens with Kenny and Levi. You know, so I don't know why they like chopped it up and put that first and then got to get them back and all, because they had, you know, it would have made the whole season just a whole lot shorter and they could have just progressed on through, in my opinion, which doesn't make any sense. And then here is, I think this is the last one for them. Yeah. So here, when they take out that interior MP outpost, like the outpost in the anime was just a small little, it just looked like a shack of some kind. Like this one's like an actual building that they were holed up in. And that is the manga portion of season 3, and the next time we'll be getting to the final part 1. Otaku out.